Right?
Okay.
See this beautiful yellow house? That's not the one we're talking about. You see that yellow house? That's the one we're talking about. I just think that one's nicer, so I thought I'd have you look at it. The one we're really looking at is number 14. And it's appropriate that it's yellow, I suppose, because there's an association with that house that you might find appropriate that it's yellow. I'll start all the way back in the 1930s when a man named Hans Augustus Reyesbach moves to Brazil. Moves to Rio, more accurately. Loves it down there, has a great old time, and he meets this sexy lady named Margaret. They're both German, as it turns out, so they hit it off in German, and they have a lovely German relationship, and then they get married in a very dramatic way. And eventually they will move back to Paris, because it's such a lovely place to be. They're not really interested in moving back to Germany, because at this point, these two Jewish people are pretty well aware of the fact that they don't need to be under Hitler's regime. Yes, sir? No, it should be, right? So that was traditionally where they actually lived. It was number 12 originally, then it was number 9. Now it's number 14.
Okay, because I was
I don't know. It should be not this one, not the next one, but the one after that. It's not. What was I going to say?
They didn't want to move back to Germany.
Oh yeah, they didn't want to move back to Germany because this guy Hitler was no good. Anyway, the point is, fast forward a few years. Yeah, exactly. There's not good stuff happening, and Hitler invades Poland, and they're like, okay, well, good thing we didn't go to Poland. That was on the radar, but France will be safe forever unless they surrender to us, like a bunch of surrender monkeys. So that's what ends up happening. France, of course, is pretty quickly overthrown. It's not their fault, let's be fair. The Germans, with their blitzkrieg, they started rolling in, and people literally were pouring out of the countryside through Paris on their way to try to get to Spain and get the hell out of France as fast as they could. And the Reyesbachs were no exception. They were terrified. These were people who were into illustrating children's books. That's what they did, and they brought joy to it. They had a really great time doing it. They, in fact, had a manuscript they were really excited about a little monkey named Fifi. Fifi the monkey was going to be their grand hit, and they have this manuscript in their hands when they realize that the Germans are coming now or never. They better get out or they're going to be in a concentration camp. So they shove everything they can into suitcases and boxes and everything. Anything that can't fit on the back of 2 bicycles that they build from scratch, believe it or not, they don't take with them. Hans will spend a couple of days building these things just in time. Literally, as people from the countryside are pouring through Paris, they're about 2.5 hours ahead of the German soldiers that march into Paris as they take a bicycle out. They spend a few weeks wiggling their way down to Orleans in France. They get on a train, and they start taking that train towards the Spanish border, and they are stopped by border control, mostly because they have German accents. And they're very, very suspicious-looking characters with a briefcase full of manuscripts and German accents. So the Border Patrol guard that stops them actually says, I need to see everything that's in that suitcase. They hand it up to him. He pulls it out, looking for secret spy documents, and is a little bit confused by Fifi the monkey's journey through his manuscripts. He finally kind of cracks a smile, gives it back, and sends them along their merry way. They get out, they go through Spain, all the way to Portugal. They take a boat from Portugal back down to Rio, where they feel safe again. Luckily, they're both Brazilian citizens from their stint in Rio, and so they're able to stay there until they can get all their documents in order to move to New York City. Pretty promptly thereafter, they'll move to 14 Hilliard Street right down here, and they will change Fifi the monkey into a slightly more Anglican name. They decide to call him Curious George. So you've probably read all about Curious George and the man in the big yellow hat. That's the man in the big yellow house over there. This is the story of these two people. They're really incredible people. I highly recommend looking them up.